Is everyone with me on page number 73? We are going to do lesson number 15, Communication and Mass Media. Now what does communication mean? Communication, that means you communicate with others. You can communicate over the telephone, you can communicate face to face, that means you can talk to people. And mass media, that means you communicate with a lot of people at the same time, like with the TV, radio or newspaper, that is known as mass media. Okay, so we are going to learn all about communication and mass media today. First, can you tell me, we watch TV programs on many different channels. Where do they come from? Now, how do we get these different TV channels, whatever we are getting here? That is through artificial satellite. Okay, so the first thing we saw, communication can be talking on a mobile phone also, you're communicating. And through this artificial satellite which is sent out into the space, you can see this. Artificial satellite launch, that means they are sending it out into space. And this satellite transmitter, which is in space, will send whatever information to the satellite dish, and that will be received by a TV. Have you got that? So that is how we can watch a match which is shown so far away. That means the match is going on in Australia, or it is going on in New Zealand or South Africa, and we can watch live match. That match is taken by the satellite, the picture, and then it is beamed into our country. So we can also watch it. And that is how we can watch a match which is going on so far away. Second, we talk to others on our mobile phone. What makes communication on a mobile phone also possible? In the first chapter, we learned about launching spacecraft and artificial satellites. Artificial satellites are used in modern methods of communication. The signals are delivered very quickly. That means from one point it is taken and it is delivered very quickly to another point. For example, we can watch the live telecast of any event going on in any part of the world. कोई भी घटना जो दुनिया में कहीं पे भी होती होगी, हम तुरंत उसको देख पाते हैं. Second, with the help of mobiles, we can directly talk to people in other countries. We just have to pick up our mobile phone, dial, and you can talk to anyone, anywhere in the world. So, you can watch cricket match, football match immediately, you can talk to people immediately. And third, the president or prime minister can address the entire nation at the same time over radio or TV. You might have seen for 15th August, 26th January, normally there is a public address on TV by the president. So he talks to the entire nation, or sometimes you have the Prime Minister's address. So he talks to the entire nation and they can watch him on TV. When Jawaharlal Nehru gave his first speech after independence, that means 14th August at midnight. That means just before 15th August or between 14th and 15th August, he gave his very famous speech, Tryst with Destiny. Everyone was listening to their radio. That is also a method of mass communication. That means the first speech given by our first Prime Minister, that is Jawaharlal Nehru. Here you can see pictures in your book also. Artificial satellites which are launched into space by means of rockets, and they are useful for communication. Do you know, in India we use artificial satellites for communication. These satellites are called Indian National Satellite, INSAT. That means I stands for Indian, N for national, and SAT for satellites, short form for satellites. Now go to page number 74. Can you tell? There are different expressions which are given. Okay, so now whether I make my face this way, or I make my face this way, I make my face like this. Can you make out the different ways that I am trying to communicate to you? In class, when I look at you this way, sternly, I am not very happy about what you are doing there, or I nod and I smile at you, you can understand. We can communicate without using words. When we talk on the phone, we have to use words, otherwise how will we show the other person? But when we are face to face, that time we can communicate with the help of our expressions, with the help of our gestures. So I can tell you, you can understand, I'm calling you, come here, sit down, Or if I ask this way, you understand I'm asking why. So without using any words, with our facial expressions and our gestures, gestures means your hand movements, you can communicate with the other person. First expression, you can see the girl is smiling, so that shows that she is happy. Second one, you can make out she is very, very angry. And in the third expression, she is very sad. And in the fourth expression, she is frightened. You can make out from the expression, the 4 expressions which are given in your book. Now study the pictures and write the name of the emotion. Emotion यानी भावना, or whatever she is feeling. क्या महसूस हो रहा है उस वक्त. We can understand a person's feeling by looking at the expression on the face. The expression on the face will tell you what that person is going through. The expression and other gestures, you can write the meaning if you don't know. That is hand movements. Okay, so with the help of your hand movements, we can communicate to other people. We receive messages or information through communication. The exchange of information is called communication. Information broadcast is also a part of communication. And information is useful for constructing knowledge. How do we gain knowledge? Others communicate to us, we get information in that manner and we get more knowledge. Now in the picture you can see over here, can you tell? Can you see over here that the artificial satellite, the dish which is there on the TV channel WAN, that is taking from there and it is sending signals to the TV. So the boy who's sitting in a wheelchair, he can read the newspaper and he gets information from the newspaper. The TV is also on, he can get news from the TV. The reporter is taking an interview, that interview can be shown directly on TV immediately in a fraction of few seconds, and he also has a radio through which he can get the news. Now study the pictures and then you can see in the box below, write the names of the means of communication that are being used. So here we are using a WAN, we are using artificial satellite, TV and radio. Note down the different kinds of information you can obtain from a newspaper. Now in a newspaper, you have different sections. Okay, so the first one has already been given to you and that is educational. So we can get information about education. We have a separate section known as Education Times. We can get information about sports, about politics. Then we can also get information about the share market. People especially buy Economic Times for that. Then we can have information about the society events. This normally comes on page 3 in the Bombay Times. So you can have different kinds of information, whatever you are interested in the newspaper. Or of course, we can also get information about entertainment. This Friday, which movie is releasing? So you can take out your newspaper and see. In your newspaper, you also come to know on which channel, which programs are there. So you can check that out. Or you get reviews of different newspapers. In the newspaper, you get reviews of movies. So you can understand, do you want to watch that movie? Or if you say, no, they've given only 2 star or they've given 5 star, I think I want to watch the movie. Advantages of telecommunication and mass media. That means, iske fayde kya hai? First, we can easily contact people far away from us. Jo dur hai, hum unse sampark kar sakte hain. Second, the time and effort spent in exchanging information can be saved. जो information आपको प्राप्त करना है, वो जानना है, वो जानने में hardly कोई वक्त आपका बर्बाद होगा. Third, they help to raise awareness about issues such as environmental balance, gender equality and cleanliness. So you come to know that boys and girls should be treated equally, what are the problems environmentally, so how you can be eco-friendly, all this can be understood. People can be forewarned about natural disasters like storms, tsunami, flood, etc. Forewarned यानी लोगों को चेतावनी दे सकते हैं हम, वार्निंग दे सकते हैं. फॉर यानी बिफोर, बिफोर यानी पहले उनको चेतावनी दे सकते हैं कि सुनामी आने वाला है, घर के बाहर नहीं जाना, या स्टॉर्म यानी तूफान या फ्लड. सो ऑल दिस इंफॉर्मेशन विल हेल्प द पीपल. फिफ्थ, दे बिल्ड अवेयरनेस अबाउट हेल्थ, educational facilities, good things happening in society, etc. So you come to know that what is happening in the world, or if there is anything good. Of course you get bad news also. Sixth, they help in successful implementation of government schemes launched for the benefit of people. Now what is the meaning of implementation? Implementation means carrying out. Now government has made good schemes, but they have to actually be carried out. For them to be carried out, people need to be aware of it. Okay, so implementation. That means actually doing it. Okay, so we can carry out the different schemes of the government. Launched for the benefit of the people. Benefit means लोगों के फायदे के लिए जो भी गवर्नमेंट करती है, आपको अगर उसके बारे में खबर है, आपका भी सहयोग है, आप भी उसमें सहभागी होते हैं, तो naturally that scheme can be done properly. Awareness can be raised about matters relating to food, clothes, shelter, education and health. This improves people's way of life. They become aware. वो जागरूक होते हैं. Mass media helps in the expansion of trade and industry. That means buying, selling, export, import, all that can increase because of mass communication. Now what is the disadvantage? Just now we saw only advantage. Only फायदे होते हैं? नहीं. उसके परिणाम जो है, दुष्परिणाम भी होते हैं. That is the disadvantages. Now excessive use. Excessive means too much. अति. Use of television, computer or mobiles causes disorder to the ears or eyes or back. You have seen people who work with the computer, they always have a backache. All the time they're bent and typing on the computer. Their eyes get spoiled because of looking at the monitor all the time. People even say that continuously using your mobile is not good. Some believe that it can cause cancer because of the mobile towers, or also using the mobile continuously. So that is not good. Psychological disorders and isolation also are possible. Now psychological disorder यानी मानसिक जो आपको प्रॉब्लम हो सकते हैं, या isolation. Isolation यानी अकेलापन. आज आप अकेले रहते हैं, बाजू में बैठा हुआ आदमी आप उससे बात नहीं करते. You're on your mobile, you're laughing at the joke, you're sending message to someone. Huh? What did you say? You haven't even heard what the person next to you is talking to you or saying to you, because you're not paying attention. You're not talking to the people around you. You're in your own world with your mobile, with your computer, with your TV. So interaction between people, यानी संपर्क बढ़ गया दुनिया के साथ. You can make a phone call, international call, and जो बाजू में बैठे हैं उनके साथ संपर्क टूट गया. So very often you find that you're all alone, you're isolated. So too much use of all these new techniques, new technology is not always good. We get all sorts of information through TV channels and network and the internet. There are instances of this information being misused to disturb the peace and order in society. See, on TV there are good programs as well as bad programs. What do you choose? What do you watch? That is important. Similarly, on the internet, there are many sites which are not suitable for children, or some which are not meant for anybody to watch actually. But it is very difficult to block out certain things. Of course, there are times when we ask parental guidance. That means if parents are sitting and watching TV with you, or they are there with you when you're working on the net, it helps. But children have to have the discretion. That means आपको ही वो समझ होनी चाहिए कि no, these are not good. these sites are not to go to. So then parents will not have to block those sites for you. Time spent on watching TV leads to neglect of outdoor sports. Today you are playing computer games all the time, you have your eye-hand coordination, but what about running around? What about playing around? So you don't have any physical activity. You have to go outdoors and not play inside the house. If it's raining, once in a while you play, even then you can play brainy games. Play chess or play Scrabble, so your vocabulary will improve instead of playing computer games. And that's why many people are not even physically fit. Today we find obese children who are growing fatter and fatter. They're eating junk food all the time and watching TV. This has an adverse effect on physical health. Adverse, that means negative. Viparit parinam hota hai. Okay, it has a negative effect. Now, what is the solution? When Amod, who is in the 5th standard means like you only, comes home after school, he visits several websites on his computer. He never misses his favorite TV shows. He plays games on his mother's mobile phone all the time. He's always sitting at home. Lately, his appetite has decreased. Lately means recently, हाल ही में उसकी भूख भी मर गई है. Appetite means hunger. So nowadays he doesn't feel hungry. Now if you're not doing any physical work, you're not running around, naturally you're not going to feel hungry. He has also started feeling very drowsy. Drowsy means sleepy. So he feels sleepy nowadays and he has put on weight. Now you'll say अगर वो खाता नहीं है तो वो मोटा कैसे हो गया? बैठ के watching TV, playing computer games. There's no physical activity. So he has put on weight and he has become fat. Amod's mother is worried about him. When will she feel better? So now you'll have to tell her what can she do, what is the solution. So let us see. Amod's mother will feel better maybe if he goes out to play. Maybe he watches TV for less time and plays on the computer also for less time. It's okay to go on the computer when you have some school project to do or you have to find out some information, but not continuously playing video games. Similarly, if he goes for some jogging, swimming or some sport, maybe badminton, then I'm sure his mother will be very happy. Mothers are always worried, khata nahi, mera bachcha khata nahi. Once he starts doing exercise, starts running around, wo khud ba khud usko bhook bhi lagegi and the mother will be very happy. Mothers are always happy when you eat a lot, maybe because that is a way of showing your appreciation for the food that they cooked for you. And of course, they feel, yes, my child has eaten, because a mother is always worried about your health. Then, if he stops sleeping all the time, even while watching TV, he falls asleep. At the right time, of course, you must sleep at night. Maybe you take a short nap in the afternoon, power nap we call it, to recharge your batteries. But to just keep on sleeping all day, anytime you're feeling lethargic, lethargic means no energy. That happens when you don't do any exercise. Now, here what she can do is, she can give him small jobs to do dusting in the house. So then you have to do physical activity. Or she can tell, okay, go in the garden and do this work, gardening or watering the plants. Buy him a cycle so he can go to school cycling, or he can go walking to school if it is short distance. So in that way, she can slowly start getting him to do some physical activity and then she will be happier. Next, always remember, telecommunication devices should be used properly and sensibly. We must not use them excessively and we should be careful how we use them. See, anything has advantage and disadvantage. Whether it is use of science, you can use science to make medicines or you can make atom bombs also and destroy the whole world, like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But whenever we have something which is good for us, transport also we saw. Transport is good. It will quickly take you from place one to another. But it can be polluting. Same way, the TV, the radio, the newspaper, all these different mediums that we have, computer, internet, they can be useful, but you have to know, you have to be judicious. That means you should have that much judgment how to use it. It depends on you. Is it good or is it bad? Nothing is good or bad. Okay, nothing is black or white. Everything is grey. That means it always has both qualities. And how you use it, that will make it good or bad. Now, do you know audio-visual communication? Audio, that means listening. Visual, that means you are watching. Now, which is the audio-visual communication? TV. On radio, you can only listen. You can't see anything. But TV is a very powerful medium because of being audio as well as visual. We cannot see each other when we talk on the phone. But if you are talking to someone on Skype, then you can see that person. New communication technology has made this possible on a mobile phone to see the person whom we are talking to. So even though he is far away, you can talk to him and you feel as if that person is just opposite you. What we have learnt in this lesson? First, introduction to the means of communication. Now, in communication, it includes telephone, it includes even letter writing, which is a lost art unfortunately. So when you email people now, even that is a form of communication. Use of space launch technology for telecommunication. That is for the mass media. On television, when you watch something, that comes with the help of artificial satellites. Introduction to mass media, which can reach a lot of people. And advantage and disadvantage you saw, that means it can be good as well as bad. Now the first one, they have asked you, write down the educational uses of mass media. Now let us see what are the educational uses of mass media. Would you like to write it in your notebook so you can jot it down? Programs telecast on the television and radio spreads information about agriculture, trade, commerce, sports, tourism, environment, etc. Okay, so all this you can come to know. Then, second, computer and internet provide audio-visual information on many topics. That means when you want to do your project work, you can use the internet and you can Google it and you can get the information. Third, radio and newspapers help in spreading information even to remote, rural, that means in the villages, rural areas. Okay, so this is answer number 1. Now, question number 2, how were messages communicated before we began to use the telephone? So, before the telephone, we could use letters to send letters, postcards and all were used, telegrams were used, so we could send messages. Third, what difference has the computer made in your life? So now you have to write in your life what difference has it made. Now my generation, we were used to living without a computer, we didn't have a computer, so you have to write the advantages of a computer for yourself. Maybe I'll give you some ideas, advantages of a computer you can write. This is answer number 3 actually, because in 2 there are just 2 words that you have to write, telegrams, letters, etc. So now here, the computer has helped to do research for my projects. Okay, then you can say, I can easily send emails, that means whether it is to friends, relatives or people who are abroad. I can use Book My Show to reserve tickets, or I can download movies and songs. Okay, what else do you use it for? In case you use it for booking your tickets for traveling, that is possible. Or sometimes people use it for transferring money or making their bank. Of course, you are in the 5th standard, so you will not be using it. So you can write something like that. Okay. Now, the last one that they have given you, that is the activity. Make a table in your notebook as shown below and enter in it different kinds of information obtained from different TV channels. So, first write the name of the channel, which program you watch, and then what is the use of watching that program. For example, if you watch channels like Discovery Channel, or if you watch Animal Planet, or if you watch TLC, which gives you a lifestyle or about the cuisine, places in the world, it gives you an exposure to different types of things. You learn, it is entertaining, and it is not necessary that TV is bad for you. TV can be good, it can be informative, it can be educational also. Doordarshan has a special program of UGC, University Grants Commission, and that is specially an educational program for people to learn. In Doordarshan Sahyadri also they have Shalay Chitravani. Shalay Chitravani is made for school students so that they can learn. They always teach them lessons which are in their actual course, in their syllabus. So without going for tuition, sitting at home, you can learn from TV also. We have special educational programs for that. Second, they have asked you to visit a radio station and gather information about the kind of work carried out there. Now a radio station, that is the Akashvani. So you can make a visit there to see how they work, or if you want to see how Doordarshan works, you can go to the Worli Center in Bombay. Then discuss the educational programs on National Geographic. Have you watched the channel? Otherwise, do watch it. It's a very good channel. Discovery or Gnan Darshan and other channels. Okay, so this is the activity which is given to you. Now in the lesson, basically we learnt about communication and mass media. In mass media, you saw that there are many advantages. Now what were the advantages of mass media? We could reach people easily, or we didn't have to take that much effort to gather information. We could come to know many things of what is happening elsewhere, like natural disasters, like storms, floods. It also made us aware of different things. Sometimes on TV you have health programs where there is an interview with a doctor, or you can also have many cookery shows, so you come to know many things. Then awareness is created, and it helps us also to entertain us. Mass media also helps to expand trade and industry. So we saw that it can be used in a good way. But there were many disadvantages. You can see that excessive use of TV, computers and all can give you eye strain, back pain, or it can give you obesity, or because of the lack of physical activity. It can make you lose your appetite, make you feel lethargic, drowsy and not so enthusiastic. Also, the contact that you have with people, the human contact, is sometimes lost and you might become isolated. You'll find that you start neglecting other things instead of studying because you have so much available on TV that you may not pay attention at all to other things. Now here, in each type of communication, you can see that sometimes newspaper, for example, it has an advantage that if you buy a newspaper today, in the morning you can quickly read the headlines and go to work. Somebody else who's at home can read it throughout the day also. A magazine, that also gives you information which is normally read at leisure. So that is also a form of communication which you can pass on to somebody else, and even in the entire month, or from a library when you take it. So normally newspaper, nobody wants to read yesterday's newspaper, but a magazine, even if it is 1 week old or a month old, you might be interested in reading the articles. So that has its advantages, but it does not have an audio-visual effect. And of course, this type of communication can only reach those people who are literate. अखबार पढ़ना भी एक प्रकार का संपर्क करना हुआ, आपके साथ संपर्क किया उन्होंने, लेकिन आप पढ़ सकते हैं तो ही आप न्यूज़पेपर लेंगे. TV has advantage of audio visual. That means आप देख सकते हैं, सुन सकते हैं. So even if a person is blind, he'll be able to listen to the news on radio. Even if a person cannot hear, he can see the subtitles, he can watch a movie on TV. You know that nowadays many of the movies like HBO or Star movies, they show you movies with subtitles. So sometimes if you feel I cannot understand the accent, you can read it, your reading will become fast, or if you are not very, you're a little hard of hearing, you can't hear properly, you can still watch and you can still enjoy. So all the mass media are helpful. They can be used in a negative way, that means going to the wrong sites on the internet, but finally we have to make good use of it, and then it can be very, very advantageous. So we learnt about communication today and about mass media. It brings us to the end of our lesson.